Hey, our favorite people sitting with me on my couch in a brand new location. And I am super excited to have the opportunity to chat with Justice Georgie. And I should say, welcome back to the Fosterpreneur podcast. No, let me tell you, I feel I have all these moments from time to time, Justice, where I just am filled with a lot of gratitude because I think about how I met you. And if someone had told me 5 years ago, I would be sitting on my couch with you interviewing me, like, how is that going to happen? So before Justice dives in, I want to brag on Justice a little bit. So yes, Justice, I said I want to brag on you. So I had the distinct honor and privilege of working for an incredible organization called Urban Alliance. And Urban Alliance is a national youth workforce development program that helps young people from underrepresented schools, underrepresented backgrounds have opportunity to really positive workforce experiences while they're finishing out their last years of high school. So I still remember the very day that I met Justice. So I met Justice at a fair at his high school called Ace Academy in Baltimore. And myself, along with one of my former co-workers, we were recruiting seniors from the school to be a part of Urban Alliance Baltimore internship program. And Justice had this infectious energy. Like, when I tell you your energy was infectious, Justice, and it still is to this day. And Justice, not only was he one of our most successful students out of that class of 2019 of Urban Alliance Baltimore, but he also was his president of his class at Ace Academy, valedictorian, like literally leading the charge in so many different ways. And he was the only student that made it through his high school who successfully completed his internship program at Urban Alliance Baltimore. Now, I'm going to do the TLDR. Earlier this year, Justice reached out to me saying that he needed an internship, and that conversation changed to him working for me and Fosterpreneur. So just don't underestimate the value of one conversation and one relationship. And fast forward, now we're sitting here today, and Justice was like, we need to get you on the podcast, Erica. Not you interviewing other folks, but us interviewing you. Thus, this is why we are here right now. I feel like I've been talking a little too much right now, Justice, so I am going to hush and let you do your thing now.
What's up, everybody? My name is Justice Georgie, and Erica, it feels so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me to be a part of your podcast. But the thing is, I feel as though that, like Erica has, you interview everybody, interview people, who is a part of your org, interview people that's like doing just great, just within the community. But I mean, I was talking to Eric and I was like, man, who's going to interview you? And I just feel as though, you can't say something without putting action into it. So God darn it, we going to do it. Erica, welcome to the podcast. All right. First and foremost, I think the big question is, who is Erica Myers?
I really appreciate you asking me this question, Justice, because when it comes down to it, who I am power, peace, joy, connection, and truth. That is who I am.
Man, those some bars.
I decided to go straight there, right?
I love it.
I can say that I am the founder of Fosterpreneur. I'm the person who leads this incredible organization. I am a daughter. I am a friend. I am a sister-ish, auntie, all those things. But really, the fundamental parts of who I am are power, connection, peace, joy, and truth. And everything that I do, I try to make sure I embody those values that I think represent who I am.
So why are those values so important to you?
Because
you listed out a lot,
really good question. So I say those things because I'm someone who really believes in personal development a lot. And through the work I've done over the years with coaches, like we just unpeeled a lot of layers. And when it came down to it, when I think about who I am, I'm those words. I'm not just a Black woman. Like in the US, we're so wrapped on our racial and ethnic identities. But like when we take away all of this external stuff, my soul, that's who I am. So like when I think about the word connection, I strive to make connections in virtually everything that I do, like from when I'm interacting with students or former students, Fosterpreneur students, from when I'm interacting in my community and where I live with my family, all those things. Like I strive to continue to make connections. And I will say that one of that connection piece is part of my superpowers because it's opened up tremendous doors for me and just allowing me to be who I am.
So I feel like you pour into everybody, right? I have this friend. She tells me like, you know what, Justice, you pouring into everybody, but you know who's pouring into you. Her quote is, "You can't pour from an empty cup." You know, who's pouring into you? You know, like who's your coach? Who's a mentor to you? I mean, you've been a mentor to me since I was 17 and I'm 24 now. So, like, I mean, like, you my mentor, have a mentor, basically what I'm saying.
My community, when I think about my close friends, those are like mentors to me because they may not be in the same industries as me, but they impart different pieces of wisdom that like I seek to look up to. I think about the elders in my family, some of the women in my family that have literally been mentors to me. I think about amazing bosses that I've had. Shout out to Stephanie and Panza, who ran Urban Alliance Baltimore, who was someone who really, really poured into me. And during my time in Miami, an incredible woman by the name of Allison Austin, like opened my eyes to so many different things. My graduate school advisor, Dr. Laura Cohn-Wood, did, professors at Spelman. So like different aspects of my life, I've had different mentors to mentor me. I will also say now the context of Fosterpreneur, for those of you who don't know, our lead business coach is an incredible gentleman by the name of William Honolulu. Like I met William 10 years ago. He coaches me. He pours into me. Like, so I have different mentors in different aspects of my life that like I can go to for feedback, that I could go to when I just need somebody to just look out for me in those ways. So like I just go to different people for different things because you take a survey of the folks around you and you're like, okay, they may not be able to help me in this aspect, but they can help me in that aspect. So yeah, everybody needs a mentor. And also too, some of your mentors like that some of the folks I looked up to are people I've never even met before. But like from things I see online, from the books that they write, other things, I'm like, oh. Shout out to Rachel Rogers if you're listening to this.
So I can just listen on all these different shout outs. That just goes to show you, you know, like you don't know who might have an impact, you know, like on you, as well as the impact that you share with others. So I think that's really great. You know, you talk about personal development, you talking about, you know, like having these mentors, you know, so basically I feel like we already know your mission. So what's the mission of Fosterpreneur and how did you know like your love child in a sense of just blossom to what it is today?
Let me tell you. So our mission of Fosterpreneur is to empower young people who have been in the foster care system to help them become successful entrepreneurs. And how Fosterpreneur was birthed was a point of pain, honestly. So long story short, I thought I wanted to go into policy work, supporting young people who had the lived experience of being in foster care. And I thought the best way to do that was the White House internship, which I was a finalist for in 2014. And I was living in Miami at the time when I applied, and I was like, oh, I'm going to come back to the Baltimore, D.C. area. My mom's outside of Baltimore, like in the suburbs of Baltimore. My dad is right outside of D.C. Like, I can live with either one of them, and it's going to be fine. I got waitlisted and then ultimately rejected. And I'd already moved back here because I thought it was all going to work out. But after I got that rejection email, I was speaking with a really close friend of mine, and I was like, I know I'm supposed to do this work. Like, I was just shocked. Like, I know I'm supposed to do this work, but why didn't this work out? And then immediately I was given the vision of, wait, what if we support young people who've been in foster care with providing them with the space to explore entrepreneurship? Thus, Fosterpreneur was born. And I was like, I'm not going to just create this entity just because. Like, I went in research mode because I'm like, oh, there's probably people doing the work. I couldn't find anybody doing the work. And as I was in research mode, I was rebuilding my network. Well, really creating a network here because I had gone away to school. Like, I pretty much was only raised in Baltimore and just left. But coming back after being gone for some time, like, I had to start over from scratch. And thus, now it being 10 years later, have had 7 different cohorts, been able to touch across approximately 50 young people's lives, have a team, like been able to do things virtually and impact young people that I still haven't met. Like that was the power of vision. That was the power of your worst moment can really, really ultimately be your greatest moment.
Woo! Your worst moment can ultimately be your greatest moment. So
Yes.
you mentioned rejection, and I feel like rejection is it's a word that nobody likes. You know, that R word, you know, it's something about that R word, you know. So there's also a saying where a door closes, another door opens. And it's the fact that you was able to walk in abundance. And even though like you saw a path and it wasn't really clear, but you've made an opportunity and a blessing for so many people that you just like that just like walked in the path with you, you know? Like, so what was that like? Just really feeling rejected. Why did you want to give back? Like what was the purpose of giving back? Because I feel like for some people it's so easy to go to a downward spiral and be negative. Took that negativity and made it positive. So like what was being rejected? Why did that feed your hunger? Like how was you able to be encouraged instead of discouraged?
Yeah, I would say the thing that kept me going was that this was bigger than me. Um, it wasn't, I did not create Fosterpreneur for any superficial reasons. Like, literally, it was a vision that was given to me. And I really truly believe, regardless if anybody's a person of faith or what have you, if you have a very distinct purpose, like, it's going to chase you down. It's going to follow you. Like, it will not leave you alone until you execute all that thing. That's what I personally believe. Because there have been times throughout this journey that if I had known what I know now, would I have started? I don't know. I probably still would have started, but like you think that like, oh, I'm gonna have this thing and it's gonna be effortlessly figured. Like I'm gonna just naturally do it, not accounting for the obstacles and challenges that may accompany you on the journey. So when it came down to like staying focused, like for me, I think about this work is bigger than me. Like for example, it's not just about us supporting one student. That one student can represent a family, which can represent communities, which can represent cities, which can do a whole ripple effect from the micro to the macro. Mm-hmm. So it's part of the reason why I feel like I was placed on this planet. The work is going to continue.
You know, you mentioned challenges and solutions. So I feel as though like, you know, with a lot of things, you know, like that comes to us being of people of color, right? Mm-hmm. It's always us against the world mentality, you know, like why you want to help them and you can't even help yourself, right? So like, what do you say to the people who just like speak negative on the work that nonprofits are doing? Because you know, I feel like that we're living in a time where like nonprofits really don't get the accolades and the kudos that you know each and every one of you guys deserve. So like, what do you have to say to that?
You know, I would say like in any industry, there are people who are really about the work, and there are people who are doing the work for notoriety and just for the attention. So with that being said, that like in the social impact, in the nonprofit industry, like there are plenty of folks who are rolling up their sleeves and doing the work. And then we live in like from American individualistic perspective. And then there are folks who, because of their networks, because of who they know, no matter how well they're executing or how much heart or lack their heart is in the work, they just got the right people on their side that can fund it, and they can perpetually get funded no matter what. I'm not saying that there's some stuff wrong with, like, that it's completely a bad thing, but just the way it works is kind of it's not about who knows you. It's not about what you know. It's about who you know, and really the truth of the matter, who knows you. So there's that exists in this space. And I mean, for us at Fosterpreneur, there have been some funding that we have received, but we've been largely a volunteer effort. And just that's allowed us to stay true to our mission in the sense of not having to or have to shift dramatically from our mission in order to do the work. So it's one reason why I
So
for me.
for the purpose work, like how you said that you've been able to touch like what, like 50 or like
Approximately 50.
approximately 50, like what are some success stories that 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 you've poured, you yourself as well as your organization have poured into these people, and how were like what were the effect that it had on you moving forward?
Yeah, I'm constantly reminded of our students' resilience and what they've been able to do, because I personally see a lot of parallels with, or we see a lot of parallels with young people who've aged out the foster care system and entrepreneurship. You got to navigate multiple systems. You got to think quick on your feet. You got to pivot. You got to think outside the box. So many things that young people in care have had to do, right? So when it comes to success stories, I'm really proud to say that the young people on our board are alums of Fosterpreneur. So from Anthony, who is an incredible photographer, whose work has been on CNN.com. And
Shout out Anthony.
Right, Ebony.com and also Forbes magazine. Ashley, who's also on our board, who is someone who has written about her experiences with human trafficking and has written self-published books from her cell phone. We also have Kiera, who is an incredible ghostwriter who went from not charging anything for her projects to now charging a minimum of $5K per project, and she's received seed funding to continue to hone her craft. When I think about the most recent participants who graduated from our last cohort, Tiffany, who is now working on her cookbook that honors her Jamaican heritage and really using healthy alternatives to honor her heritage, but also use her gifts of writing and her love of cooking with that, who's also an incredible advocate for young people in foster care. And then I'm also really ecstatic because for the first time ever, one of our alums who just recently worked with us, Naya, who's still working with us, who, when I say worked with us, was a part of the program. Naya, who is a skincare expert, esthetician, has her own business. She is able to give back to us, and she is helping to support with so many like logistics, operations, things while driving for her business. And she just had candid conversations with me like, Erica, I love what we're doing. I see how we can take this to the next level. So just the mere fact that she's continuing to build her business and also being able to contribute to Fosterpreneur in this way, those are just examples of success. And also Ashley, who is created affordable housing for young people who've aged out of foster care in Western Maryland, a community that is underserved. So those are just to name a few folks who have gone through the Fosterpreneur experience, but not limited, because there are other young people who've done from the recording arts, Ashanti and Reggie, from clothing wise, Aisha. I can just name some other folks. Like, just yeah, it's been a blessing.
Just seeing your passion and just hearing your dedication, as well as the relationships that you have, like just like show and proved, that you've made with everybody who has been a part of Fosterpreneur. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I kind of want to be a part, because it's like y'all fam. Like, I'm like, each and everybody's just doing so many great things. When I think about you, Erica, I think about somebody who really stayed 10 toes down. I might have not been a part of Fosterpreneur, but I know when I was a part of Urban Alliance, just being one of the students, I remember like during COVID, like I just like there was so much like lack of productivity, and I needed that accountability partner, and I was like, man, Miss Erica, I didn't hit your phone. I was like, listen, I said, just was like, how can I help? And I was like, listen, every week, can you just like call me and ask me like, like what productive thing have I been doing lately?
I remember.
And that just like helped me just wanted to start working, getting jobs, helping to pay for bills, like help my mom's out and everything. So you do the work, and I feel like not only do you do the work, but like you put your heart into it. And these are the difference between like, people who are genuine and they actually want to help, instead of like they just doing it for a paycheck and everything. Because This is a very nice place, by the way. But she said, like, I'm not doing it for a paycheck. But you still doing your due diligence. So, with that being said, right, like, what do you have to say for those who feel like they don't want a handout? What do you have to say for those who's like, man, like, I feel uncomfortable asking for help because as a man, trust and believe, like, I understand that, like, pride is a very big thing. Pride is something that we all have, but how can you encourage somebody to put that first foot forward and be like, please,
Yeah, so this is something that I'm still continuing to work on, being able to allow people to pour into me and ask for help. But asking for help is a sign of strength and not a sign of weakness. And B, another thing is, if you think about the people that got your back, right? How dare you rob them of the opportunity to give to you? How dare you rob them of the opportunity to give?
Dang.
Because there are certain people that are around who are just waiting for the opportunity for you to ask. I'm not saying that everybody has all positive people in their lives. I'm not saying that. But, like, one of the reasons why we don't get certain things is because we don't ask. And it's so important to do that. The other thing that I will say was somebody who is, like, feeling nervous or reticent about taking the first step, just know that you don't have to have everything all figured out. Part of the journey when it comes to entrepreneurship, forging your career path in life, so not just business ownership, but just in life, is that you gotta take the first step. I remember, I hope I'm not, like, butchering this Dr. King quote, but he's like, all you gotta do is take the first step, and then when it comes down to, like, then the second step will appear. Like, we can't allow ourselves to stay paralyzed by fear. We gotta be willing, like, let me try this first step. And sometimes that might look like failure. Sometimes things may not look the way we want to, but I guarantee you, the people that are out here doing it are the people who are not ashamed to have egg on their face. Like, can I get a little vulnerable for a second, Justin?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Say nothing good.
So I have this incredible Fosterpreneur sweatshirt on because our store officially went live yesterday. And yes, I'm super excited about it. And one of the things that I wasn't able to do for the store was to be able to get a professional photographer to take these photos, right? And part of me would be like, oh my gosh, everything needs to be perfect. People are going to judge us because when they go to the store, the photos don't look like what you would look like when you go to Amazon or Zara or H&M or, your other big retail conglomerates, right? But I'm like, we want to start where we are. And people, right, we're going to start where we are and be a testament to folks that we start with the resources that we are given. That's what we do. Yes, there'll be folks who may have something to say like, that looks like crazy. Why does it look like super professional, or you should have done this or that? But literally, we are starting where we are and building upon that. But I guarantee you, people are still going to buy our stuff, though.
That's a fact.
Fosterpreneur.org/store.
That's a fact. So, I mean, like, can you talk about, just the impact of Fosterpreneur? Because Fosterpreneur, how old is Fosterpreneur?
So, technically, we had our first cohort of one student, shout out Danielle, in 2017. It was in person at the Baltimore Greater Urban League. We really started to catapult and have momentum in 2020, where we had to go virtual, which allowed us to have the virtual cohorts. So, and the day that we actually got our 501c3 status was December 31st, 2019. So technically, according to the IRS, we have been operating as a 501c3 almost 5 years. And we started with our cohort of one student in 2017. And I will say, just like Justice, you asked me just a few minutes ago about taking the first step, or like, people being like, can I do this? We started with one student. I used to be ashamed of that. Like, I thought I was going to have a line around the door of all these young people who wanted to be a part of us. But we had to pay our dues and do the work. And I just wanted to share that to encourage y'all. all it starts is for you to start with one person who is willing to rock with you in the beginning. Like, there's something to be said when people are in the trenches building with you.
Man, I feel inspired. I don't know about y'all. I'm just like
inspired.
This is like really big. So like we talked about the students, we talked about the impact that Fosterpreneur has. So, are you working with, are we working with like any organizations, any collaborators?
Continue to work with partnerships. So United Way of Central Maryland, shout out to them. They awarded us as a Changemaker Challenge winner earlier this year, which has been a huge blessing to our organization. Have been working on building partnerships with CASA, which is the court-appointed special advocate program, which supports young people who are in foster care. And we have also previously partnered up with the Urban League, which is how we started Fosterpreneur to begin with. So there have been different partnerships in different capacities, and also with our alums. Like, for example, Anthony McCrae, the photographer that I mentioned, he has done different photography for us when he's able to do so. I've just been feeling really, really blessed because like we've had unofficial partnerships, but also those who have been very much about the work and supportive.
We've been talking about Fosterpreneur this whole time, and I just feel like you got the people watching at home, like, you talking about it, but like, how can they sign up? How can they donate?
So if you go to our website, fosterpreneur.org/donate, that is how you can donate to us. And also, we will be announcing in January our dates for our spring cohort. And if you want to apply for the spring cohort, you would go to fosterpreneur.org/apply now. And that's how you can apply and be in our pipeline for things. So we got things going on. You also can feel free to follow us on social media platforms. So on IG, Fosterpreneurs with an S. On TikTok, Fosterpreneur. Don't know how much longer you'll be able to do that on TikTok though in North America. Also too, you can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn as well.
And you said something about a shop. What can I shop again?
If you are watching, you see that I am wearing this Fosterpreneur hoodie with our logo. And if you if you visit fosterpreneur.org/store, you can purchase your own hoodie, you can purchase your own t-shirt. We have mug strapping, we have hat strapping. We're doing a whole 12 Days of Christmas campaign so that we can continue to elevate our message and get folks to support us and support our students. So, I just gotta say, this is actually my first day wearing this hoodie.
That's hard.
And I gotta say, it's pretty dope.
And it look comfortable.
It's super comfortable. People rock hoodies all year round now. So, where we are is cold now. So right now, the hoodie is $65.
Only $65? Hey, listen, I gotta buy me one of these, man. I gotta get out of this tie and this mess. I'm trying to rock one of those.
Yes, so I just gotta say, all 100% of the proceeds go towards our programming, goes directly to helping support our students, from helping them with seed funding to elevate and accelerate their businesses, and making sure that we're able to touch as many young people's lives as possible. Because remember, this is not just about helping someone start a business. We believe that the path of business ownership in this country helps to change, not only transform the individual, transforms the family, transforms the household, and can transform the community. Just imagine what the power of being able to help uplift a young person out of poverty can do. Just imagine that. And unfortunately, in this country, young people have higher rates of homelessness, higher rates of high school dropout rates, higher rates of teenage pregnancy, higher rates of abusing drugs if they come from a background of aging out of foster care or being placed in foster care. So we provide this space that is made exclusively for foster care alumni and youth and those who've been impacted by the foster care system, that gives them the confidence, gives them the safe space, the community, all the things they need to start their journey. And what we've seen that do, you can go to our store and support us. And you can also give us your money too. I will take all the types of support that you're willing to provide for us. So I appreciate you giving me the space to do that.
We are about to wrap up. Last but not least, my last question for you today, and it's been an honor, is what advice would you give to 2017 you when you had your first student walk through that door?
2017 Erica.
The birth of Fosterpreneur.
I would say don't despise small beginnings. That's what I would say.
Drop the mic. That was perfect. And I'm going to pass the baton to you.
All right. Well, this has been so much fun. I'm so glad you came over and we're like, we doing this way today, right now, because it's like I love talking about this, and it's an honor to stay here with you. And for those of you who are listening, I would like to encourage you guys to subscribe to our podcast. Also, follow us on the socials, Fosterpreneurs on Instagram, the X, Fosterpreneur on TikTok, and Fosterpreneur on LinkedIn if you so choose. And feel free to reach out to us. Visit us, send us emails. You can get all of our contact information on the site. Happy to connect, because we don't operate just in isolation. We want to continue to partner and be a part of other organizations that are supporting and doing similar work. So thank you.
See y'all.
Bye.
That was great. That was great.